Let's make it a good day.
Welcome back.
We do it our way.
I think you're going to find this conversation interesting here. Love this guy. Our next guest has been behind the camera of some of your favorite reality shows like The Amazing Race, Big Brother, Naked and Afraid. Nowadays, Aaron's favorite show. Nowadays, he's in front of the camera on TikTok sharing stories and insight into Hollywood. Audience, give it up for producer Patrick. Hi, buddy. Welcome back.
Hey, Jason. Good to see you again.
Good to see you.
in the Great White North.
Doing well, my friend. It's good. I always appreciate your insight. I'm up many nights watching your content because you just know what the hell you're talking about. So I don't want to waste any time. I have so many things I want to ask you. Let's start off with this. Everyone saw the announcement with Hoda Kotb. Sure, I'm positive that she wants to spend more time with her family, but there seems to be more to it than that. And these contract renewals for the big anchors, they're getting less money. They're being offered less money than they would have even 2 years ago. Do you see this happening with perhaps GMA next?
We see it happening all over, and it's not just news programs and broadcast. This extends to like late night television. As you may know, Warner Brothers recently announced a couple weeks ago that cable to them is just basically a pain of financial strain on them because nobody is watching traditional television the way that they once consumed. We are now seeing audiences start watching programming on TikTok, YouTube, Instagram Reels. So a lot of the eyes just aren't on television like they used to. So the question comes, these anchors, or I guess you could say on-camera talent, who draw multi-million-dollar contracts, $25, $30 million contracts. I think the television networks are saying, is it worth it? Is the juice worth the squeeze at this point?
Because, Patrick, I was trying to explain this to somebody. Let's just say Robin, Snuffleupagus, and Strahan, they're making anywhere, let's just round it up to 20 million. Mm-hmm. Before a single producer is hired, and you know what I'm going to say, before a single writer is hired, we're talking about $60 million right off the top. And if I'm Disney, I am looking at that, aren't I?
Yeah, you're going to say, hey, you know, I'm paying these guys $60 million. There's a TikToker in Iowa who does makeup tutorials who's pulling the same audience. And they're doing it for free. Why am I spending all this money on these people when this other person, you know, where we have content creators at home that are making their own content very cheaply, mind you, and are pulling in the same audience? Why is it worth to? And a lot of these companies, they're hurting financially right now. That's across the board. We're starting to see a major industry shift, and we're actually kind of due for one if you think about it. And we've seen these sort of technology shifts over the course of media. We've seen it from when silent films went to talkies, and that killed the silent film movement. We've seen it when television started, and then that killed radio. People used to, you know, gather around the radio for radio shows, and of course that was out once television came. And then, of course, cable came, and that changed the whole dynamic of television. And now we're really kind of seeing the shift of TV to internet. And yeah.
Aren't you seeing it too? One of your videos, two things I want to ask you. I find it fascinating that YouTube TV is getting ready to change their interface to make content by content creators look more like TV show offerings. Am I right on that?
Exactly. YouTube announced just, I think a couple weeks ago, that they're now going to start a new model that mimics what you would see on Netflix or Hulu or any of the streaming channels, except the difference is anybody can put their material up. So we're starting to see this trend more towards independent creators and filmmakers basically saying, hey, you know what? I don't need these large gatekeeping networks to tell me who can and cannot make content. I can make content on my own. So I think YouTube's trying to bet that they can also generate television programming without the sort of need of the Hollywood executives overseeing it.
You were just on Juicy Scoop with Heather talking about the writer's strike, my friend. LA is still feeling the effects, the ripple effects, isn't it?
Yeah, Los Angeles is hurting. I mean, and I think that's just because the entire film and television industry is hurting right now. It's not just LA, other production hubs, the ones in Georgia and New York, they're hurting too. And what we're seeing actually is in an effort to cut costs, production, which traditionally was made in the United States, is now being outsourced. Sort of the same thing that the auto industry did. They're saying, well, it's kind of too expensive and we have to deal with unions and all this. Why don't we just make a movie in Eastern Europe or go to Mexico where we don't have to run into these financial hurdles anymore? It's actually cheaper to just outsource a show globally than it is to actually film in the US.
I know you covered this in a recent video. I mean, you have people coming up to you going, yeah, yeah, and they're the optimistic folks going, yeah, but there might be a turnaround in 2025 or second quarter 2025. Do you see any type of rebound?
I see, I don't think we should call it a rebound. We should call it, because it's actually morphing into a different industry. It's not going to be the industry coming back the way it was. The way it was is done. That era is over. But Netflix is not going to go away. Hulu is not going to go away. Disney Plus is not going to go away. But how they engage in content is. We don't know what the medium is going to be 5-10 years from now. We don't know if people are still going to be scrolling on their phones or there's going to be a new way that we access programming. You know, do we put on VR goggles and that's how we watch TV from going?
God, I hope not.
Like, do I put on goggles and come on the Jason show and I can actually, you know, almost like touch your face? Like, I don't know.
I would be down with that. What else in our last 30 seconds? What do you got coming up? What are you working on, my friend? What shameless plug time? What's in the works for you?
So shameless plug time is I've teamed up with a platform. I can't say it right now, but they're going to be launching very soon. And it's a program that I believe in because what it's going to do is it's going to provide equity to entire crew members. So if you're the gaffer, if you're the production assistant, instead of the money always going to the executive producers and them trimming everything on top, if you create a project, if you create a film, if you create a television show, that gets equally distributed. So everybody gets a stake in the pie. So I'll be talking more about that in the coming weeks. But that's what I got going on right now to help independent filmmakers and creatives.
I always appreciate your perspective, my friend. Thank you for your time.
Thank you so much, Jason. Have a good one.
You too. Give it up for Producer Patrick, everybody. You can follow him on social, Producer Patrick. Back after this, everybody. Back in a moment.